Hey, millionaire! Anyone who loves the lottery, like we do, will all know that it's so great because it's a game of chance. You don't need any knowledge or skill to win it, which means absolutely anyone can play and stand a chance of winning. That's pretty great because that way, nobody has an advantage. We're all equal when we play. But wouldn't it be nice to be able to increase your chances of winning? After all, the odds are never in your favor when you play the lottery. It's normally about a 1 in 300 million chance of winning, depending on which lottery you play. But even though lottery experts will tell you that the chance of winning is the same for everyone, and in a way, they're right, there is one thing you can do that might just increase your chances of winning. You can pick the numbers that win the most. Sure, some people use numbers that mean something important to them, and that might just be the way to go. A lot of players have won that way in the past, but some of you prefer to use knowledge to give you a leg up. We're here to give you all the info you need on the luckiest lottery numbers out there. Let's take a look at which numbers you should be picking for the top lotteries. Obviously, the luckiest numbers change depending on which lottery you play, so we're going to break it down by the most popular lotteries. But even then, the luckiest numbers do change all the time. We'll be talking about recent statistics that are likely to help you win now.
Can you smile, man? Very happy.
If the numbers you worked out years ago are different, that's probably because the stats have changed. Also, using these numbers obviously doesn't guarantee a win, because then everyone would do it. And if everyone did, all the winners would receive less money than they paid for a ticket. But choosing them might just increase your chances of winning, and that's exactly what we want. So here are the numbers that come up the most. But stick around to see the end of the video, because picking the most common lottery numbers might just be the wrong way to play it. If you want to find out why, then stay with us. Let's start with the Powerball lottery. Of course, that's the one most of us will be interested in, because the jackpot seems to be huge all the time these days. It also still holds the record for the largest jackpot in history. We'd all like to increase our odds of winning a record-breaking jackpot. Since 2015, there's one number sitting right at the top of the Powerball draw, and that's the number 61. It has been drawn a whopping 78 times over the last 7 years. However, at the time this video goes out, it hasn't been drawn once in the last 2 months. That might mean it's just about to pop up again. And that's our bet for the best number to choose right now, although it seems a good bet all the time. The number in second place is 32, which has been drawn 77 times since 2015, only one less than the number 61. Then we drop it down a little to 74 draws since 2015. That's the number 63. Then it's 21, 69, 62, 36, and 23, which have all been drawn 70 times or more since 2015. Those are all the most frequently drawn numbers for the US Powerball, but those are just the main numbers. You can't forget that you need to choose a Powerball number 2, and that's a very different set of numbers that take the top spot. The number drawn the most for the Powerball is the number 24. It has been drawn 45 times since 2015, which makes it a pretty safe bet. The runner-up is number 18, which was drawn 42 times. Then the number 4, drawn only 36 times. And the numbers 10 and 21, which were only drawn 35 times since 2015. But that's a whole 10 draws less than the number 24, so I know what I'm putting my money on. But the Powerball isn't the only huge lottery you can play. The Mega Millions jackpots are also growing lately, and that lottery isn't too far away from the huge Powerball jackpots. So let's have a look at those numbers too. Mega Millions might just be the lottery that gets you your big win. What's your lottery strategy? Tell us in the comments. You might just be onto something. But keep watching if you want to find out what numbers are really the best ones to pick on your lottery ticket. The Mega Millions lottery has 2 numbers that hold the top spot as the most commonly drawn numbers since 2017. They are the numbers 14 and 17, and both have been drawn 51 times. This is already looking pretty different from the most common Powerball numbers, right? The number in second place is 10, which has come up 49 times. The numbers 38 and 31 were both drawn 48 times since 2017. Then it's the number 64 with 46 draws over the last few years. In case you don't know already, the Mega Millions lottery also has a separate number, like the Powerball, that you need to pick, but here it's known as the Mega Ball. Again, the most common Mega Ball numbers don't match most common Powerball numbers. In the Mega Millions, the most frequently drawn Mega Ball number is 22. It has come up 32 times since 2017. If that's not your lucky number, you can try the numbers 9 or 11 because they've both come up 26 times in draws since 2017. So they're pretty safe bets. The numbers 10 and 24 are tied in third place with 25 draws. But those lotteries can only be played in the US. What if you're in the UK? Don't worry, we can help there too. Can you click subscribe before another lottery player changes their lucky numbers? You have 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Now keep watching to find out the most picked numbers in the biggest UK lotteries and why they might not be the best numbers to pick. The UK National Lottery has pretty giant jackpots too, so it's definitely worth playing. Plus, as an added bonus, lottery winners in the UK don't need to pay taxes on their winnings. That means that unlike winners in the US, any UK winner will take home every cent advertised. That's pretty lucky, and we have the numbers you need to win it. The most drawn numbers for the UK National Lottery since 2015 is 52, which has come up a whopping 99 times. That's almost 1 in every 7 draws. That makes it a much more reliable number than any of the numbers in the big US lotteries. Tied in second place are the numbers 39 and 58, which have both been drawn 89 times. Again, that's more draws than any number in a US lottery. The runners-up are the same. The numbers 36 was drawn 88 times, 37 was drawn 87 times, and 27 was drawn 86 times. That might mean that if you want to pick seriously reliable numbers, then you better hope you can play the lottery in the UK. Their top numbers come up over and over again. But the UK lottery isn't the only popular lottery across the pond. Anyone in Europe will tell you that the Euro Millions is the one you should be playing. It's super popular and has jackpots to match. With so much cash on offer, you definitely want to win the Euro Millions. So what are the luckiest numbers? Well, if you thought the UK National Lottery had some reliable numbers, the Euro Millions is even better. The luckiest numbers are 19 and 23 and have both been drawn a whopping 173 times. The number in second place only missed the top spot by 2 draws. That's the number 50. 42 was drawn 170 times, and the numbers 38 and 21 were both drawn 169 times. That really is a lot of draws for the same numbers to show up, and loads of them show up over and over again in jackpot draws too. That's pretty amazing odds if you're looking for a lottery where the same numbers are pretty much guaranteed to come up. But is choosing the most frequently drawn balls the way you want to play? Or is this all a trap? Well, some theories say the most frequent numbers are the ones you should avoid. Why? Let's find out. Do you play the same numbers every time? How do you pick them? Tell us in the comments, and keep watching for some expert number picking strategies. One of the biggest problems with picking the most common numbers is that loads of people are doing the same thing. Why should you care? Because imagine your numbers really did come up. Every single one appears in the jackpot draw, just like you hoped. That's great, right? Well, if you choose the most common numbers, and they're the ones that won you the jackpot, there will be a lot of other people out there who are also watching the draw and thinking they've won a giant jackpot. All of you will be sharing the prize pot. That means even though you won, you're sure not keeping all the money for yourself. Think of it this way, if only 100 people in the country had the same idea as you, and all of you played the most common numbers and won it, then you're only going home with 1/100th of the jackpot. So, if the jackpot is 100 million, you'll only be getting 1 million for yourself. And if you're in the US, you'll still need to pay taxes on that too. Sure, it's still a lot of cash, but I'll bet that wasn't the jackpot you were hoping for. So, if choosing the most common numbers don't work, then what strategies should you be using to increase your odds of winning? Let's break it down. Firstly, you want to separate yourself from the pack. That way, if you do win, you're more likely to be the one person going home with the jackpot. The first way to do this is to make sure you pick a few numbers higher than 31. That sounds pretty random, right? There's a good reason a lot of people use their loved ones' birthdays or other important dates as their lottery numbers. That's sweet and everything, but it means that most people are picking numbers lower than 31 because no month has more than 31 days. If you pick a few numbers over 31, you're setting yourself apart from many other lottery players. Another number to avoid is the number 7. You probably already guessed why. Loads of cultures around the world think 7 is a lucky number, so everyone picks it in the hopes it'll bring them luck. It doesn't. even if it does come up, you can bet most other players picked it too. In fact, when the University of Southampton in the UK did a study on the lottery, they found that the number 7 was 25% more likely to be picked than any other number. They also discovered something else that's seriously worth knowing. People love picking number sequences. The worst numbers to pick are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It seems like a pretty lazy way to choose lottery numbers, but 10,000 people in the UK choose those numbers every week. That means if you won a $1 million lottery jackpot with those numbers in the UK, you'd be taking home just $100. You can bet it's the same in the US too. Also, any variation of that sequence is best avoided. In other words, no 11, 22, 33, 44, 55, 66 numbers if you want to avoid disappointment. Another number to avoid, amazingly, is the number 13. It turns out, as unbelievable as it sounds, that it really is unlucky. 13 is the least frequently drawn ball in a whopping 8 major international lotteries. So it's true that if you do pick that number, you'll be one of the few people who were brave enough to pick the world's most unlucky number. And that means you're almost guaranteed to take home the whole jackpot to yourself. But there's a big chance that even if all your other numbers come up, that number 13 is going to be the one that ruins your shot at the jackpot. I'd avoid it if I were you. So we've looked at what you shouldn't do. But on the flip side, what numbers should you pick if you want to win? Well, there aren't any good answers, except that you should avoid numbers that everyone else is choosing. Remember, no matter how many times a number has been drawn in the past, that doesn't guarantee it'll come up in the next draw. The numbers really are random. So, your best bet is actually to avoid the most common numbers rather than picking them. And some would say that means that your best option is a quick pick selection. Basically, just let the computer choose for you. That way, your numbers are guaranteed to be totally random, just like the draw. A surprising number of lottery jackpot winners have won with that method, so it might be a good way to go. But when it comes down to it, it's totally up to you what you choose. Maybe the best way to play is to just go with your gut and keep your fingers crossed. Enjoyed this video? Then you need to watch this one if you want to improve your chances of winning the lottery.